Tonight we're going to wrap up the Acts 1:8 mission, going through all parts of the world with the gospel of Jesus Christ. As I mentioned Sunday, I don't think I emphasized it enough. I would like for people who know the Lord to take some chances with your spirituality. Go out of your borders, do things you've never done before, go places you've never gone before, and see what the Lord would do in your life. Just find something that you've never done before, and then in 2020 decide that's what I'm going to do for the glory of God. I want to wrap this up by covering some things that has happened in our church since I got here, and I'm also going to wrap it up by talking about the cooperative program, the monies that we give, how it's used. And I also want to talk to you about Annie Armstrong and Lott11. Perhaps you know, perhaps you do not know, how this money is basically used for the missionaries when it goes out. It's never given as salary, it's always given as a helpmate. And I'm going to cover some of that tonight. We're going to start by talking about the things that I've been involved in. Now, the timeline does not follow. I wrote these down as the Lord jotted my memory. But in 1996, I began what is known as the West Virginia Christmas Ministry. At that particular time, we had an old church van, and I asked Providence to help us. They created 73 shoe boxes, 5 food boxes, and maybe a couple of blankets and 2 comforters, I think. And it was me, it was Diane and Abney, it was Reverend Larry Shull from North First Baptist Church, it was Sue Bensley and Lee Ott. How many of you know Lee and Sue? Who attended Connery Baptist Church. They said, we want to go help. And they contributed some as far as the shoe boxes and food boxes go. But on that day in 1996, we went up to Isabel and we distributed what we had to the people there, which was 73 shoe boxes, 5 food boxes, a couple of blankets, and 2 comforters. Okay? And it was over. Okay? Today in 2018, which was our last trip last year.
It's 2019.
We hadn't gone this year.
Oh, okay. You said today.
2018 was our last Christmas trip up to West Virginia, and we took 73 people. We took 17 vehicles, 8 trailer loads full of food, clothes, and toys, $6,000 worth of love gifts for the 10 pastors, and distributed it in West Virginia. That's where it's grown to. And every year, Providence has helped in a tremendous way by giving food. So that's a ministry that you've been a part of as far as the North American mission goes. If you've gone, everybody that goes always wants to go back. And we always had at least 10 people from our church go. Okay. This year it's going to be me, Diane, Miss Mary Franklin, Daniel Monroe, and Judy's going for her first time. And Harry is going from our church this year. So that's 6. And if you want to go along, just let me know. You may have to drive, or you might have to ride with Harry. If you do, you need to take the tranquilizers. Just pick it. He's a good driver. But anyway, and Fred's not going to get to go this year. But anyway, that's one thing he's done. The first mission trip that Providence ever took as a group, we took about 12 or 13 people and went to a place called War Eagle, West Virginia in 1996. And we did a backyard Bible club. And that was our first experience in West Virginia. And from that, everything has just grown into a tremendous blessing. And we've done this all over the United States. We've been to War Eagle, West Virginia. I can't tell you how to get there. You can't find it on the map. If you ever run from the law, that's where you need to go. We've been to Lincoln Church on Branchland, West Virginia. We've also taken around 12 to 13 people, 16 altogether, some from other churches, and we went to, in 2000, we went to Canada, Ontario, Canada. We worked with Dixie Baptist Church, a church that has 19 ethnic groups, okay? And they were connected by one thing. Does anybody know what that was? They had a Korean pastor, Pastor Kim. They were connected by one thing, 19 different ethnic groups in Ontario, Canada. Does anybody guess what the one thing was that connected in. Did you have any idea? One thing was the Lord, but what would have been the other thing? It's very common, very real, you know, it's just common sense. Just laugh yourself if you don't think of it.
Love and food.
Language. Language. They all spoke English. And they didn't, and that, although they were bilingual, they all knew their own home language. They wanted to learn English, and that's what they wanted their church to be. Okay? And so we went up there, we did a backyard Bible club. Most of the children that we worked with came from Muslim families. Now, the church was in the bottom of a high-rise apartment building owned by Muslims. Now, the Muslims would not allow their children to come into the church, so we had to do the ministry outside. But we had a puppet that preached the gospel, we fed them, we played games with them, and we were able to minister to these children, and also some of the adults. Most of the adults that we talked to were interested in one thing, getting a job in America, so they could come to the United States. If you got a job, you get a visa, you could go to the United States. So anyway, we ministered to a tremendous amount of Muslim children when we were in Canada. That was in 2000, I think. Some of these days may be off. We do have pictures of that trip. In 2001, the church sent me and my wife to preach at an Iraqi Baptist church in Ontario, where Pastor Saeed was the pastor. And I had an opportunity to go up there and minister and work with them. You had a part of that because you paid the money for us to go. In 2003, there was three people from our church, Diane, Paul, and I don't remember the third one, who went with our association to put a porch on the Logan Church, which is Covenant Church, and y'all stayed up there for a week. Who all went, Diane, from our church?
Nobody but Paul and myself, but then Larry Davis was at Little Swamp at the time, and the pastor there, I can't remember his name.
Okay.
But we had approximately 20 people, and during that summer, we helped fix the chapel.
Right.
And it took out that window that was there, and that nice big door we got that we go through now. They took
Correct,
that out.
yeah. And y'all made that deck and the handicap ramp,
Yeah.
correct? Yeah. So every year we get to use that beautiful ramp on the old school, okay? Again, some of these are out of date, but in 2014, there was three churches, several folks from our church, we put the siding on Harbor Light Baptist Church. We spent 3 days up there. There was our church, there was Gethsemane Church, and there was 2 Mile Church. We went up there and put the siding on Harbor Light Baptist Church. In 2015, we had 12 from our church who went up and put a ramp on one of the retired pastors' homes up in West Virginia. That took 2 days. We stayed a Friday and a Saturday and did that. In 2015, we also took the youth to Isaband and did a block party. And several folks went. We had, I think, the total was 9 or 10 from our church that went and participated in that. Okay. In 2016, I took 4 trips to Mexico. Okay, 2 by car, 2 by plane. The first time we went, there was 2 people from our church. It was me, and there was Tommy. There was Tommy. He went that trip. And we went to do 2 things. First of all, we were taking a truck that was purchased by somebody who's a member of our church to deliver to the mission down in Mexico. But we also took a trailer load of lumber. Now, this lumber was purchased partly by us, partly by other churches around the association, to make bunk beds for the school. And every piece of that lumber was cut to specifications by Brother Jack. Isn't that correct, Jack? You done all get cut. Every piece of lumber he cut, and so the bunk beds could be put together. That brings me to our 3rd trip. When we flew over there, we went to build a church. There was 16 that went from our church. We went over there to build a church. The men actually framed the church. The footer had already been poured earlier that week, or probably 2 weeks before. All we did was put the frame up that was attached to the old church, while the ladies built and assembled the bunk beds from the lumber that had been delivered earlier. And that's what the ladies did. They stained it. I wish Betty was here. Who went on that trip? Anybody here? You didn't go, Diane? I know Betty went, and there was several other ladies that are not here tonight though. But the ladies did the beds and we did the building of the church, okay? Our last trip was a trip by truck where we went and we delivered a ton, 2,000 pounds of beans and a pulpit that was created for the new church by Brother James Williams, okay? So anyway, those are the trips that we went into Mexico in 2016. In 2013, there was 10 people from our church loaded up one Sunday and went to Moore, Oklahoma to help recover from this tremendous tornado that touched down and killed several people. And when we got there, it was kind of strange. We stayed at the church. We drove all night. We should never have done that. We had enough drivers. We thought we could do it, okay? We did it, but it probably wasn't the best thing to do. Anyway, we stayed at the church, and while we were at that church, 30 miles from Moore, where we were going to work, with the other churches who were cleaning up from the tornado, another tornado touched down between us and them. Now, we worked with Samaritan's Purse, and they had a big operation and set up. They provided food, and they provided the resources, and they just put us in different areas. They put us in an area where a whole housing development was completely wiped out. And what they wanted us to do was basically walk the area, hand to hand, and just pick up any debris. Then we also went to a pasture where the cows were. Wasn't any cows in it, but that's what we did. We picked up bags and bags and bags of debris. We were actually the finishing touches, but we saw the tremendous damage that had been done. So that was a mission trip that we went to Oklahoma in 2013. In 2017, we went to, 2005. There was 12 people from our church went to Waveland, Mississippi to help rebuild homes that had been struck by Katrina. That was a good trip. I got deathly sick, and I think it was from using one of the showers that had mold in it. I was sick on the way back, but all we were able to do was basically put down the foundations so they could, somebody else could come in and do the framework. Okay. 2017. Okay. Yeah, in 2017, we sent Bobby and Sandy to Rockport, Texas, to give the church down there a check on behalf of one of our deacons who went there as a pastor, and he's buried in Texas, right there next to where the church was. A $2,000 check to help with their recovery from Hurricane Harvey. Okay. And that's basically what we have done as far as mission trips as church groups through our efforts that we've done. Okay? Now, we've already heard about John and Haiti. We've heard from Jack, Dominican Republic, Harriet in Jamaica, Diane in Romania. What I want to do for just a few minutes now as we get ready to close is talk to you about our mission money, okay? Just understand that mission opportunities abound. We can't look back. We can pat ourselves on the back for what's been accomplished. But in order to be an Acts 1:8 church, we have to continue to look forward. Opportunities abound. Tornadoes still come. Samaritan's Purse is still working. Christmas program is still going strong. And there's a lot of ways that you can get involved. And we trust and pray that you'll always look forward. Okay? Now, let me talk to you about the cooperative program. And then I'm going to talk to you about Lottie Moon and Annie Armstrong. Okay? I hope I have my notes for Annie Armstrong. I don't think I do, but I think I know it from memory. Anyway, okay. The cooperative program, okay? The definition of the cooperative program is that each church decides how much they want to be involved. It's usually a percent. Our church is 11%. And out of the 46,000 churches throughout the United States, made up of 16 million members, we put all of our monies together to support missionary efforts around the world. All of this comes from 50 states to support 4,500 missions throughout the world. Okay? The money is used, well, let me back up. Not just the money, but a missionary is appointed by being called have to be saved, then you're called, and then you train. If you're going to be a missionary for the Lord in North America or in international missions, you must attend some sort of seminary. Usually, if you go on an international mission, you have to have a graduate degree. However, you can become a journeyman, which you go and you are trained and you go on a 2-year stint, which, by the way, is what Jim and Grace Davis does. Every 2 years, they have to re-up to stay where they are to get any benefit as missionaries from the Southern Baptist Convention. Okay? Now, the cooperative program money that's pooled together does several things. First of all, it gives us a unified budget that kind of provides blanket stability for churches. They don't have to look and know, well, is that church is going to send a check this week, because they know they're going to get the check. That does something else too. It takes care of their future, because every part of their money that they get, part of it is set aside for their retirement. So every Southern Baptist missionary that spends notable time on mission field can have a good retirement. You do know that the Bible teaches in Acts 2 that you can always do more together. The first thing the church did, and you can read it, it's right there in Acts 2, was they brought all their goods as God blessed them together. Then they distributed as they had needs. That was the brainstorm of what took place. And then from Acts 2, it goes out throughout the world. Okay? Another thing that it does is when you give to the cooperative program and you have a unified budget, by the way, all churches ought to give at least a tithe. Ours is 11%. Probably ought to increase every year. We ought to put that in the bylaws. Every year we're going to increase our cooperative program giving, but that hadn't happened. But it levels the playing field, which means that a church that has 5 members has the same benefit as a church that has 250 members. Okay? In 2017 and 18, our goal was $140 million. Okay? Out of that $140 million, $42 million of it went to support the 7 Southern Baptist missionaries throughout the United States. Okay? And also $192 million of it went to support the missionaries around the world. As of today, there are 3,714 overseas missionaries supported by the cooperative program. There are 3,176 unreached ethnic groups throughout the world that we want to target and reach with the gospel of Jesus Christ. Basically, these 3,000 missionaries are planted in. You see, when missionaries go, they don't go to a place that's thriving. You know, we don't understand that concept sometimes in the Bible Belt. Where you go to a church that's growing. They don't have to grow in church. They go into the place where Satan is in control, through cults and all kinds of false religions. That's where they're planted, okay? There are 5,097 domestic missionaries that are supported by the cooperative program. Last year, in 18, there were 624 churches planted, and there's 254 existing churches that joined the Southern Baptist Convention, okay? Any questions about the cooperative program? Like I said, that's the 11% that we give, and that goes from our undesignated money that goes to the Baptist Convention to support these, what I just read. Yes, sir?
What do you mean by domestic?
In the United States.
Oh,
International is foreign, okay? Domestic missionaries are people that works in the United States. That's domestic. Homegrown.
While you're on this subject, I want to bring up Jimmy Carter. Do you support that in prayer or what he does?
Habitat Humanity?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had it in Orangeburg, and it's a good program. We've just never had anybody involved in it, but it's a good work.
I think we need to bring him up for prayer.
Sure, yeah. You know, Jimmy left the Southern Baptist Convention. He thought we was too divisive. He now teaches in a Methodist church. He's a Methodist now. He used to be Southern Baptist, but now I think he's going to the Methodist. I think so. I believe we're right about that. I'm pretty sure that's something developed later. But anyway, all right, going on back. So domestic is home folks, okay? That's missionaries around the United States. And then the foreign, of course, that, okay? Now, I'm going to have to do this from memory, but I think I can. Well, I really can't. I wish I had my figures. I think it's 160 million. Is that right?
That's close enough.
No, it can't be 160 million. It can't be. What did say our 140 million was true? Okay. 16 million. 16 million was the amount of money that we were supposed to raise in 2019. I don't know how close to our goal we come, but that money is not used to support the missionaries per se. Each missionary is given allotments to do as they wish with it in a consigned folder, okay? For instance, they were given money, they could have $25 a month out of that Annie Armstrong offering to take somebody who's unchurched to lunch once a month, okay? $55 could be used for a 2-week training program. And by the way, when our missionaries go to training, they usually come to one or two places. They either go to Ridgecrest or they go to Glorieta. Glorieta, I think, is in Mexico, and Ridgecrest, of course, is in North Carolina. And there's training seminars that these missionaries can come basically for free, but the money usually pays for their training, okay? And then you kind of think this is crazy, but they are allotted $160 a month out of Annie Armstrong money to pay for their washing at a washing laundromat. That comes out of that money, so they don't have, so it's not a burden to the family. Those are the kind of things that the money pays for. And I can't, there's several other things, but I can't remember what they were, and I've got them wrote down in another notebook somewhere, okay? But that's what the Annie Armstrong money is basically broken down to give to domestic missionaries, okay? Any questions on that? Now, let's go to Lott11. $165 million was our goal for this year, okay, or 2018, I'm sorry. 3,678 missionaries work among 847 unreached groups, okay? 100% of this money provides missionary service needed to live among unreached groups, okay? Here's kind of how the money is broken down. If we reach our goal for Lott11 and the state reaches its goal and the nation reaches its goal, each missionary would receive about $8,000. Out of that $8,000, here's how the money is divided up. $55 is given for a 2-week program per missionary. So that means $100, $110 for husband and wife if they both want to go. $350 of that money is used to translate one Bible story into sign language to reach an unreached group. It's just kind of like, you know, the picture books that you look. It has words, but basically it uses sign language to get the gospel into the language of a group that doesn't speak English, doesn't speak any language where the Bible is written. Any questions about that? Yes, sir.
Are you saying it has the signs instead of words?
That's right. But there's all kinds of books like that. Baptist has got several books. It has headings and words, but it's got pictures too to make it understandable. It would illustrate, like a child's book, the story of the Good Samaritan. But it's translated with words into an ethnic group that doesn't have the Bible in their language. Okay? Any questions about that? And then $7,500 of that money will be used for 1 year's school or tuition for the children of those missionaries to attend an international school. That's how your Lott11 offering is broken up and how it's basically used to support missionaries.
Are we still private schools or what kind of schools?
Yes, yes, yes. Y'all, are y'all aware of Ben Lippin School?
I think I've heard.
There are a lot of missionaries that send their children to Ben Lippin. It's from Columbia International University campus. And many times they have to do that. They go overseas, but they have to leave their children here to get educated because there's not any schools there. This provides tuition for those children. That's what your money goes for. Any questions? None?
I think you mentioned Glorieta and Ridgecrest.
Yes, ma'am.
But Glorieta is no longer with Southern Baptist, it was sold.
When?
Oh, it's been quite a while now.
I didn't know that.
4 years ago.
40.
It is a Christian organization that has it, but Southern Baptist no longer has Glorieta.
But they still use it, right? Kind of like White Oak.
Well,
It's sold, but we still use it.
the school, what they did, they developed a
summer activity for children. Sort of like to do a Ridge Crest, but it's a privately owned organization there in college. And so Ridge Crest
Is
is
the,
the only place they train them.
very good. I did not know that, so I guess if I knew it, I'd have got it. All right, anything else? Well, I'm through. Anybody else have anything they'd like to help me with? I appreciate it. I thank all those that came this morning to help out with the truck loading. We got one trailer load full. We got all the comforters out. We got, Bowman showed up with 30 food boxes, so we got 4 boxes loaded. I've got work to do downstairs. If anybody interested in going downstairs and help, I need to inventory all those shoe boxes down there. There's about 120 of them. And I need to know how many cold kits is in those shoe boxes down there. If I want to do anything, you're welcome to go down there and plumb. Okay? But anyway, the choir's gonna start in just a minute. I'm through, okay?